welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori, and today we have professional long driver Gabi Powel joining us. Hi, Gabi.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. So it wasn't, was it last weekend was the PGA show? Last week?
Feels like a blur, but yes, yeah. I think so. A week or maybe a week and a half ago.
Yeah, so funny story. Ashley and I went to the PGA show for a quick day, quick in and out, and we're just kind of browsing the aisles. And again, I said this on the PGA show episode, but a lot of the booths, like you can't just get in. You know what I mean? Like you have to have an appointment. They're kind of blocking people off. And we were near the Smith & Quinn booth because I wanted to talk to him about the Desert Classic. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Gabi there. And you're talking to one of the Smith & Quinn reps there. Yep. And then you slip behind the curtain. Okay. So behind the wizard. And I go, Ashley, oh my God, there's Gabi Powel. I have to ask her to be on the podcast. This is my one opportunity. And I was kind of caught off guard. And so I feel like I was elbowing people to get behind the gates of Smith & Quinn. And they were like running after me. And I just couldn't stop. I had to connect with you and get you on the podcast.
I love it.
And Ashley, I think, was beside herself. She was like, why? I've never seen you fangirl before. So this is, full circle moment here, but thank you again for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So let's get down to why you're in town. Is it just because of the Phoenix Open, or what are you working on here in Phoenix?
Working on a couple things here in Phoenix. Most people may see from my social media. So obviously social media and my brand is a lot of what I do. Yeah. So obviously being here is great for my social media, my brand, but also in the sense of the TV stuff I've been doing. I've actually taken a twist and gone to the producing side of things. So this week here with Twisted Fox Productions, doing shows for Golf Nation. We're doing 8 episodes, 4 different shows, all in 4 days. So it's a busy week, but we're super stoked to be here and make some magic.
And was it this week in particular because there's a lot of golf personalities, players, all the hype is here for Phoenix Open?
Yes. So another thing of what we're doing is, on location events, showcasing some of the events. For example, Wednesday, which is tomorrow, is the Good event.
Okay.
They're having a live event on Peacock. So I'll be out there kind of saying, hey guys, this is like what it looks like on the event side of things. Cause a lot of people can't necessarily go to those events to try and show the audience like what it's like. And then Thursday, actually, Hannah Leiner and I are hosting a women's golf clinic for Malbon and Party Tour. So they're doing an event Thursday night. So yeah, really being out here, a lot of the talent and influencers, media personalities are out here this week. Obviously, it's very, convenient to make sure we kind of get everything done in a week. It kind of just works out. And we have the connections of everybody out here. That's what we're doing. So
tell me, I just learned actually that you were starting to go behind the camera and executive produce a lot of these videos and this content. How do you feel about that? Because usually you're in front of the camera.
So yes, I love both very much. It all started back last year. Hannah and I filmed a series called 3 Courses. So that was basically with Club Wyndham, and we did 3 courses, a golf course, a restaurant, and a bar. 3 courses. And we did that in Phoenix, San Diego, and Atlanta. So that was kind of the start, I would say, of really me being like, wow, like I want to do more of this. I want to be in front of the camera. I want to be involved in everything this. So that kind of started out, and Hannah and I had the opportunity to go over to London late last year and had the opportunity to be kind of on the backside of the camera. And I realized like, I'm kind of good at it and I love it at the same time. So I was like, all right, like let's keep going. And I met up with Jock, who was the director for 3 Courses and kind of where we were working behind in London. And we were kind of talking about show concepts, and we came up with The Grid, the new reality golf TV show that's going to disrupt the golf market.
Okay, I love this.
Disrupt the golf industry. So we sat down and we really put it together and pre-production is what they call it, of exactly what we want to do. Think of the challenge, Survivor, and Big Break with lots of reality drama in the mix.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love it.
So we filmed it in early December of last year, and is planning to be aired, I would say, beginning mid-April of 2024. So we are very excited, and this is our baby. We're about to make a real big impact, I feel, in the golf industry.
That's
for sure.
exciting.
Yeah.
So you said the name is The Grid.
The Grid.
So let's go through just the timeline of how that. So how all of pre-production, how long did that take?
Well, I would say about 3 months, which is technically kind of short for a pre-production of something of the capacity that we did.
And how many players are in the game, in the reality show?
So it all came about with what I do in professional long drive. So I was kind of thinking something along the lines of just specifically women. And then I really learned about maybe a little bit of the drama that's in real life, of some of the long drive drama that nobody sees behind the scenes. So I was like, all right, we need to do something with this. So long story short, we came to the conclusion of it's 8 players, 4 guys, 4 girls, 2 guys, 2 girls on each team. And throughout the show, you will see everybody's on their own at the beginning. There's a captain's challenge to figure out who the captains are. And then there comes the teams. So it's intense.
Yeah.
High energy, drama, all of it all in one.
And you said you filmed that in the beginning of December?
Yep.
How long did that take?
It was about 5 days of filming. And we actually filmed everything at night. So we had every single day, let's say 4 or 5 p.m. till 2 to 4 a.m. in the morning.
Wow. In Florida?
In Florida. At Sailfish Sands in Stuart, Florida.
Fantastic. So now you're just editing still, or is it all complete and you're just waiting to drop in April?
Nope. Lots of editing.
Yeah.
Yep. There was, don't quote me on this, but I believe like 90 hours of footage.
That's so much. I mean, I have like 1 hour podcast episodes and I'm like, I can't edit this. It's too much.
It's
like,
a lot, yeah.
I don't know how editors do it. I always think like there's got to be a faster way to do this that I just don't know how, or I'm not used to yet. It just seems very intense and overwhelming.
It's definitely something you have to have a team around.
Yeah. Well, that's very exciting. So, so then what you were filming here, the content you were creating here today, because you were over at Dobson Ranch, correct?
Yes.
What kind of content is that? Or can you talk about it?
Yeah. So today we just filmed an episode of Versus and Tee Shots, which are 2 shows that are currently on golfnation.com, Vizio TV platforms. So, just more episodes of that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to make it over to the Phoenix Open? Or?
Oh, yeah. Saturday. Yeah. Once we're done filming, we're going crazy at the Phoenix Open.
You're going to venture out there on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's a little rain. I mean, that's going to be...
I'm in for it. After, this week, it's time to celebrate.
Okay, so let's say there's a chance of rain. Are you still going to wear the outfit that you planned, or are you going to pivot? Because I'm seeing like in the chat rooms that ladies are just going to stick with what they have saved. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be cold.
So as a Florida girl, I did look at the weather before coming here, and I did already know it was going to be extremely cold. So I did, pre-plan to wear pants. I have a green long sleeve blazer, like a waist management green. I do have a rain jacket that's like long and black that would match with the fit to put over. But I did also recently had a heated jacket be sent from Amazon here because I knew how cold it would be. So that may come into play.
Yeah. Is this your first time at the Phoenix Open?
I was here last year.
You were.
It was crazy.
What do you think of it?
It was crazy. I think it's the most packed golf event I've ever been to.
Yeah.
For sure. Bar none. And, even if you're walking around the course, the crowds are there. And I think, it brings the energy definitely for people to know that are coming out. It's like, this isn't the typical tour event where you're going to come out and just chill, watch golf. No, like if you're coming, you got to bring the energy everybody else is coming with.
Absolutely. And what are you, GA? Are you in a hospitality suite? Where are you going to be camping out at? Are you on 16?
This Saturday, yeah. I think we're going to be on 16, the par 3. Oh, that's right.
You're going to have a blast.
All access.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Well, I hope you have a great time.
Thanks.
I'm gonna skip the Phoenix Open this year, but I usually go at least every other year to kind of check it out. But you know, when you've been there, you kind of know what it's all about.
You know what it's all about.
Okay, so let's get into how you got into golf. I know you played Division I golf at Florida International University. So when did you start playing as a kid? How did that golf come about?
Yeah, so I actually played basketball growing up.
Okay.
A little bit of volleyball in there, but I was very competitive in basketball for about 7 years, did the whole travel thing, middle school, high school, everything. Freshman year of high school, I actually had some college coaches looking at me to recruit me for basketball. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, heck no. I'm over it. My body was beat up just because at that level, it almost became like a tackle football. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I can't do this in college. I kind of got to the point where I'm like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
So that's when my mom actually came to me and said, hey, why don't you try golf? I heard a lot of girl golf scholarships go unused each year. Your high school team's looking for girls on the golf team. Like, you should try it. And I'm like, fine, Mom. Like, I'll go try. My dad, was there telling me, yeah, you should. He played a little bit of golf. So I went to the range for the first time and actually got the ball in the air. And I was hooked. I was like, I got this.
Yeah, and you probably right off the bat hit it pretty far.
Yeah.
So that's exhilarating.
Pretty far. Made the high school team at Dwyer High School in Palm Beach Gardens. Fell in love with it. But I will say it was a lot of sweat and tears. Mm-hmm. A lot of sweat and tears. Worked extremely hard and had, and I think my story really goes into why Hannah and I started the 4Ts Foundation. Mm-hmm. So we can kind of get into that a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's on my notes.
Going through high school and like working, and if it wasn't for my mom doing the research of like how to get a scholarship, but because I didn't start at a young age and I wasn't like one of the best players in the US, I didn't have college coaches coming to me. There was a process that I had to reach out to college coaches and send them a resume of all my scores I planned, make sure I'm playing summer events that have 18 holes, and make sure I do a YouTube video of my swing and kind of everything there that if my mom didn't sit there and do the research, I would have never had the opportunity to play in college. So because she did that, I ended up having the opportunity to play at FIU, played all 4 years. It was an amazing opportunity. And going into why this really drove me to start 4Ts is because what if some girls don't have a mom to do that research for them? So I was like, why isn't there one place like where all that information is? Why isn't there any girls that I could reach out to and ask, hey, like, how did you get into playing college? Like, what are the steps? What am I going to expect in college? It's very, very different, especially as an athlete. And we started 4Ts Foundation. So Hannah and I actually sat down and created an online mentorship program for women in golf, or basically the upcoming generation of women. Yeah. So it has chapters. Basically, when you log in, it has, how do you get a scholarship in college? What are the college expectations? But also business professionalism, how to network, all the things we thought were super important to know from that transition from high school to college golf. So, and Hannah has her reasons too, in the side more of mental health, because that's also chapters in there of why, she was very passionate about helping the women's community, creating these opportunities for women in golf. But it was really because for me, hey, like any younger girls out there, 13, 18, if they have that passion for golf, they can play in college.
Yeah.
Whether it's D1 or D3.
Exactly.
And like, that's what we really wanted to show in the sense of we have girls that have already played college mentoring these girls 13 to 18 to help them through that journey, which is important because at the end of the day, golf is such a male dominant sport. It's like, where's the women's community where these younger girls can say, hey, like I look up to that girl. She's really good at golf, but I can actually have the chance to talk to her on a daily basis if I want to.
Yeah.
And of course, with social media, like there's a lot of that more, like that opportunity is there more. But sometimes, as a younger girl, like you're nervous to reach out, or like even, as an older girl, maybe sometimes we're like, oh, like whatever. But like Fortes Foundation gives those younger girls and the ambassadors, the mentors, that opportunity to really grow that women's community in golf.
What a great foundation you started. I bet you were really proud of that.
Yes. Yeah.
And you probably hear success stories from that.
Yeah. Well, last year was our first year. Mm-hmm. We had about 30 girls total that went through the program, 15 juniors, 15 ambassadors. We learned a lot. So this year we're doing something a little bit different where we're actually sponsoring just a high school team in Denver, Holy Family, just because in the sense of keeping in communication with the juniors, sometimes it's difficult with their age.
Yeah.
So now we have the college coach to say, hey, don't forget to remind the girls we have a Zoom meeting this weekend,
Mm-hmm. So you pivoted and you just focused on one
for this
high
year.
School.
I think it's definitely in the future to have lots and lots of high schools on board. But again, we're very new. So
you have to
lots of trial and error
and before you scale.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you.
That's great. So how did the transition happen? You played college golf and you started to explore long drive. Like, how does that happen? I don't even understand how you get into long drive. Like, what is that all? Tell me how that happened.
Yeah. So I was always considered a long hitter in golf, especially like driver, irons, all clubs in college. I was considered the longer hitter.
Yeah.
And after college, Anthony Livingston, who's on the senior division of the World Long Drive Tour, there was a local event in Hope Sound. We somehow got connected to where he was like, hey, do you mind to come out to this event and do some social media for the event? I was like, yeah, no problem. Like 100%. And then he's like, well, why don't you compete? Like, here's the opportunity. I was like, well, I've never done that before. Like, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, no, I'll set you up with the right equipment and give you a couple lessons. Like, I was like, all right, what do I got to lose?
Yeah.
So did a couple sessions with him, went out to that event in Hope Sound, ended up competing, ended up hitting a bomb like 318 and getting second place and just falling in love with it.
Did you, show you that journey on social media as you were going through? Like, okay, I guess I'm going to take a couple lessons and try this long drive competition out.
I did through my stories a bit. Was like, okay, well, I guess I'm competing in a long drive event this weekend, guys, follow along. But yeah, I would say on the social media, I try my best to be able to showcase my audience, like follow my journey. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ho-Hum just knocked a 318 out there.
I will say it does have to do a lot with equipment for long drive and technique.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like, okay, you have to swing really, really, really hard. But it's like, if you have good technique, you technically don't have to swing as hard.
Yeah. So how long ago was Hope Sound then?
So not this past April. So this April will be 2 years.
Okay. So was it that easy of a transition? Is it then just, okay, I'm going to go sign up for the next event? I mean, how do you get involved in long drive if they don't have the opportunity like you had right in front of you?
So especially with WLD World Long Drive, they have where you can actually sign up as an amateur to compete. So you don't technically have to go right into the pro side of things and kind of get your feet in the sand, or you can just really sign up as a pro and go compete and experience the most insane adrenaline rush of your life. But yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to get into it, there's also ULDA or ULD, Ultimate Long Drive. There's a couple other tours that sometimes they have local qualifiers in your hometowns. And I know WLD has been also doing qualifiers through indoor like simulators that you can kind of like through TrackMan, I think. So
when is the season? How long is it?
March to October.
And how many events will you?
So this year the guys have about 8 or 9 and the girls have about 5 or 6.
Interesting. Is there a reason for is there
That's
more men probably that participate?
So the men, there's like maybe, I believe, don't quote me on this, 130 men that compete, where the ladies, it's around 24, 26 max.
Wow. That's not a lot.
No.
Okay. So if you were to compete in the professional side, well, that's what you do. You compete on the professional side of the professional long driver. Does that automatically make you a professional golfer?
No.
Okay. So you can go compete in amateur golf events.
Correct. I am not pro golf.
Okay.
Like status. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like playing in a tournament here and there?
Honestly, no.
And why?
During college, it was just a lot of pressure, I feel like, to play good golf. And like, I will say I'm very hard on myself for not only golf, but a lot of things. And another reason is even if I were to go and try and play pro, it would be a full-time job, right? Mm-hmm. So practicing, playing events, traveling, it would be a full-time job. And that's honestly, playing professional golf itself is not where my passion lies.
Yeah.
And that's what I really realized in the sense of talent, being in front of the camera, being on the backside of the camera, and social media and marketing and all that is really where my passion lies. And really my one goal in life is to make an impact and to help other people.
Yeah. I have a lot more questions about behind the camera, but let's get through my long drive questions. So tell me what the format is in an event, in a long drive event. Like what does it look like? How long of a day is it?
Yeah. So it's called like a round robin is what they call it. So usually there's 5 sets. So say there's 5 sets. I'm in this set playing against 2 other girls. Then in this set, I'm playing against 2 other girls. And then it's basically like rotating where you're playing against other girls. So after those 5 sets, well, there's points related. So let's just say I'm up on the tee box with 2 other girls. The longest drive out of those 3 girls gets 200 points. Okay. Second longest, 100, third, 50.
Okay.
But you get 6 balls, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And you have to hit the grid, which is 60 yards wide for the ball to count.
And that's standard. It's always 60 yards wide.
Yeah, around.
And it's always 2 minutes.
2 minutes,
balls.
30 seconds.
6 balls, 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, since I've competed the last 2 years, that's what it's been. I know in the past they did things differently, like back in 2019 when it was really big. But the last couple years since I've competed, that's standard.
Yeah. I feel like one time this summer I was at an indoor simulator and I tried to do 6 balls in 2.5 minutes. I'm like, that's a lot of time. And it really isn't.
I feel like when the adrenaline's pumping and you have 3 balls left and you didn't get one in the grid yet, that's when time starts going quicker because you get way more nervous and you're like, please just let me get like 1 ball in the grid. That's all I need. And then it's like all of a sudden there's 5 seconds on the clock and you're like, crap, like I just have to get this in the grid.
Yeah. Because what happens if you don't get a ball in the grid?
You get 0 points.
Okay.
So like back to the point system, after those 5 rounds, the girls with the top 8 highest points move on.
Like go into a bracket.
So they go into like a match play bracket. So then it goes from 1-on-1, the other person gets knocked out, and then it keeps going until the last person's standing really. And
that all happens in a one day?
Yeah, it's about 2 hours.
Okay, that's fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you have to do as a warm up to get your body prepared to have that high adrenaline and use that amount of power that you need?
Lots of caffeine.
Really? So it's like
some people are different. I know for me, I love my caffeine.
Okay.
Caffeine junkie. I have to have my caffeine. Especially right before I compete, I like to, take a little bit of caffeine and really like get pumped up and really just on the range. I feel like warming up, I hit for maybe 20, 30 balls and then I feel like I'm good because you're swinging as hard as you can. You have to be careful of not wearing yourself out before you compete. Right. Yeah. So like 20, 30 balls where you feel like your swing is feeling good and then you're good to go.
And 20, 30 drivers or are you using?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, I'll hit like a couple wet shots and iron shots and then go right into driver. But I feel like that's because I'm a little younger.
You can jump right into driver.
If you ask Cassandra Meyer or Josh Koch, they have like a 2-hour stretching window, like go through every single club in their bag to really have the body warmed up to go into that long drive. But
you're still taking advantage of the young blood and just getting in there.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Okay. So equipment differences. The ball's the same. There's nothing different about the ball. Do you all have to use the same ball? Do you have to use like the sponsor's ball?
Every long drive event, they provide the balls and everybody uses the same balls.
And it's whatever ball that's there? Or is it typically always a Bridgestone?
This past year was always Bridgestone.
Okay. Interesting. And how about the driver itself? How is it different than just our drivers in our bag?
Yeah. So normally regular driver is around like 44 to 45 inches. So long drive, you can go 48 max. So my driver shaft is around 47 and a half-ish. And it's very whippy. Very whippy. So, and it's almost like I don't know if you've heard of the golf company or golf club lag shot.
Yes.
Okay. Lag shot, how it's like a training aid because it's very whippy to help you with timing. But that's, I wouldn't say almost, but it's very similar to my long drive shaft. And the guys, I swing around 115 to 120 swing speed. The guys swing around 150 miles an hour swing speed. They use the same shaft I use.
Wow.
So the shaft, the technology, especially in the shaft I use, the TPTs, the technologies that is built, the way that they build the shafts is the way that it doesn't break unless for some reason it like hits over your back when you hit or for example, I was actually in an indoor place and I was wearing an old glove and it slipped out of my hand, hit the wall and broke in half. But like, yeah, obviously that's going to happen. But so the shafts are longer.
And those shafts are made for these competitions.
I wouldn't necessarily say made for the competition specifically. I mean, some people may use them to play. I mean, I use mine to play regular golf too. I would say the longer shafts, yes. So the shorter the shaft is, more accuracy you have, right? The longer and whippier it is, the less accuracy you have. But if you time it up right, the further it can go. Yeah. So it's like a balance there. I mean, some of the guys out there, you know, may use a little bit stiffer shaft than that, but it's really dependent on the person and their swing, I guess.
And club heads that we're using out in the golf course?
Yeah. So I was using in this past year the Paradigm 8.5. Sometimes I'll turn it down to a 7.5 because you could do that when on the shaft. The guys, so it's different with the guys because they typically use long drive specific heads where it's built at 5 degrees and they can turn it down to 2 degrees.
Wow.
The women, I won't speak for all the women, but for me, you know, I don't use those heads because they're specifically made for long drives. So their face is made differently. So basically when the guys hit it, how fast they swing, the face is so much thicker that when they do hit it, it's like a trampoline effect. But because my swing speed is not as high as theirs, it doesn't create that trampoline effect. Therefore, it doesn't make sense for me to use the thicker face because when the guys are hitting it that hard all the time, they tend to crack regular faces. That's why it has to be made thicker. And I don't have that issue to crack the faces. So
any other equipment inside stuff that we need to know about, or is that pretty much it? It's just the club and
I would say it's really the shaft and the head that you use.
Do you have multiple that you bring?
Yep. Always great to have multiple shafts and heads in case something breaks travel, like when you're traveling, or you never know what can happen if it hits off your back and breaks.
Are you wearing a glove?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. So swing. Now, obviously the swing for a long drive is, at least for most players, is massive. Has your backswing always been big, or did that just come with long drive?
So I will say actually when I first started playing golf, so if people watch my swing, they know I swing very over the plane and past parallel.
Me too.
When I first started playing golf, that was my natural swing.
Yeah.
Before I, created consistency and to like really try and score. I know in college, I remember all I was trying to do was shorten my swing, make it short and consistent and accurate.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I'm in long drive, it's way over parallel and way over line, but that's just what's natural for me.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody has their own way of swinging for sure, as in we like to say, swing your swing.
Yeah. Do you think that you need that big swing to get the power, or that's just where you feel most comfortable?
No, I don't think it's where you need to get the power. I mean, if you look at Kyle Berkshire, he does not swing over parallel.
Oh, he doesn't? No. I haven't watched him in a while.
That's
incredible.
It's a lot to do with your weight transfer, how you get through the ball, like really technique on weight transfer and movement versus like the club swinging. I feel like your body moving. Yeah.
So off season or when you're training, what does that look like? Are you getting lessons, or is it just all about going to the gym? Do you have to get a certain amount of reps in? Like, what is that?
Off season right now is looking a lot more like production and TV stuff.
Because you're loving it.
Because I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But really, like off season / when it is season, it's about 3 speed sessions a week, indoors or outdoors, to where I'm swinging at full capacity to 70 to 100 balls, just to be able to get in swing shape.
Yeah.
So just like when you go to the gym, and then if you don't go for like a couple weeks and you're really sore, that happens to me when I'm doing long drives. So if I don't hit for 2 weeks and I do a speed session, I'm going to be very sore.
Yeah, I bet.
So it's important to stay in swing shape, I like to say.
And is that taking reps inside at a simulator, or most of the time? Either.
Yeah. I think it's important to be, if I don't have a TrackMan or something on the range, to be able to see my numbers, as in my club head speed, my swing speed, etc. It's important for me to do that indoors to where I can see the numbers. But it's also very important for me to see ball flight out on the range.
Yeah. So it is hitting balls, though. It's not just swinging, because a lot of swing trainers, speed trainers, you're just swinging. You're not actually hitting a ball. So a rep that you need, the 70 to 100, is always hitting a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be able to keep it up. I mean, yeah, I'm sure, swinging speed sticks or the stack is really great too. If I can't get myself into indoor simulator or outdoors, to be able to just keep my body in swinging shape, I think that. And then obviously the gym.
Tell me about your gym routine.
Honestly, it's a lot of legs and core.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy it anyways?
Yes.
So, yeah. Do you enjoy the process of long drive still, or do you find yourself enjoying producing and the media so much that it's hard to?
It's definitely both. I go back to, being an athlete my whole life, the competitive nature in me, even though I take everything I do very competitively. But especially in the long drive sense, I love the competitiveness I can bring out, and just the adrenaline. Again, I haven't been skydiving yet, so I can't compare it to maybe skydiving, but it's 100% the most adrenaline I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah. How was the community when you came into it?
Honestly, great.
They are?
Yeah. The long drive
being that
great.
It's so small.
Yeah.
I would actually think it's probably more intimidating when it's that small, to where you kind of hope that you fit in, because you can't really hide.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like because the women's side is so small, everybody's very welcoming, just because they know that moment of coming into it as it being such a small community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it all Americans, or is it players from around the world?
Americans, Canadians, a little bit around the world. It just depends on the events. The last event for World Long Drive is World Championships. So that's when a lot of the ladies from Japan come in, New Zealand, across the world to compete, where during a typical in-season event, they wouldn't, because they have their own tours in their home country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after 2 years of being in long drive, what do you need to improve on to break your next distance ceiling?
Everything.
Everything?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I don't feel like there's a spot where you can't improve in long drive.
Yeah.
Definitely speed ball speed, ball contact, definitely some of the things technical that I'm doing in my swing that I would really, really need to work on without it being, it's such a habit and natural that I would have to, really, really focus on technical just to be able to gain the speed. Yeah. Really, because it comes from technique.
Yeah. So you said you were between 115 and 120 miles per hour club speed. Where do you need to be to break that next barrier?
My goal is to get to 125.
125. But again, keeping solid contact is just as important, right? So
I think, that's really comes into when training and taking reps slowly to really get that center face contact and then moving up from there in speed.
Yeah. So is 125 happening this summer?
Oh, yeah. It's happening.
I like it. Okay. Let's see here. What changes would you like to see, if any, in the tour?
The World Long Drive Tour?
Yeah.
Bigger purses would be nice.
Yeah.
If... we talk about some of the purses, men and women, like at the end of the day, we're out of our own pocket of expenses to be able to travel to every location and equipment, hotel, food, everything. So yeah, bigger purses would be nice. A bigger ladies community. If I could change anything, yeah, of course, to have more ladies to compete with and, just everything really just to improve the most.
Was there a Bryson effect? When Bryson started getting into long drive, did the competition grow? Did the exposure
maybe on the
grow?
men's side for sure? I
didn't see that
for
on the
sure on
women's
the
side.
men's, not necessarily women. No.
Yeah. How often do you have to keep your workouts consistent?
Honestly, like mental health reasons, just for my physical well-being, I try to at least 3 times a week. Yeah.
And when you go onto the golf course, what are your expectations?
Just regular golf?
Yeah.
Not very high.
Not very high. And are you okay with that? Are you able to handle that?
Depends on the day for sure. But, no, I know that I'm not putting the time in to practice my game. Therefore I can't have very high expectations. Although I am heading to Dallas in a week and a half to actually play for score, which I haven't done since last February. And I actually did go out and with no expectations and shoot even par. But I'm very scared to have those same expectations for this year.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just really looking at it of like how blessed I was to be able to play in college and play competitively to where I am to just try and enjoy it the best I can, even though I'm very competitive and hard on myself. But
do you enjoy a casual round of golf?
Yeah.
You still do?
Oh, for sure. Especially with a high noon in hand.
Absolutely. Yeah. And do you still swing your long driver swing?
Yeah.
When you're playing casual golf?
When I'm playing casual golf, I would say I'm swinging like 70% versus 95. Yeah. When I compete, it's very different, but yeah.
Have you ever gone to play a round of golf and gotten paired with 2 male strangers and their jaw just drop when they see you blast it?
Yes.
300 yards.
Yeah. I actually work a lot of charity and corporate golf events all over the country as well. So when they pull up to the tee box for me to hit a drive with their group, they're like, oh, crap. They're like, wow, okay. Oh, yeah. The reactions are huge.
I love that. When did you actually get started in social media as something that you were really strategizing in and putting out there strategically?
Yeah. So I actually started social media before college. I wouldn't say accidentally, but kind of. I was posting some of my golf content of just either pictures or swing videos, and I saw that it was kind of a hit. And I was like, I'm really posting what I was doing through college, but I technically couldn't have any sponsor deals, promotional deals, product deals, nothing. So I really just tried my best to keep up and post consistently, still continue to grow through college. And then after college, I'm like, all right, it's go time. Like we're going as full throttle as we can.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm really hard on myself about my social media in the sense of what I want it to be and how I know consistency is important and how sometimes other things that I'm doing in my life don't let me, I guess, stay as consistent as I want to or as high quality as I want to. Yeah. But things are changing this year. some point it's going to be a noticeable change.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that you want the level of quality that you're putting out there on your social media channels to be a certain amount of quality. Not something that's just kind of like, oh, I'll post this and kind of haphazard. But that struggles with consistency because, again, the inputs that we're getting are limited at times, or you'll get a bunch in one time and then you go on a drought and you don't have any content. So is that what I'm hearing? Or
yeah, I think definitely consistency, and I think time management. I would say as much as social media is my job and I do enjoy it and it is a part of my passion, as much as I enjoy being present in the moment with whether I'm with family or friends. So then it's like, man, I'm really enjoying this. Do I really, do I pull the phone out to like make content, or like, to that. Or I'm playing a round of golf with my dad and it's like, I need content, but it's like, let me just enjoy this round with my dad, but exactly. So it's like a very hard balance that I, I'm trying to work on of like, okay, like, hey, let's just dedicate this time for this and then give myself that time to be present with the people I'm around. Yeah. So that's just part of something I'm working on for sure.
I remember one of my business coaches telling me that, because I went really hard in social media for a good 2, I would say even 3 years straight, like consistently posting stories, good content out there, being very consistent. And she said, you did the job. Like, you've built your audience. You are allowed to kind of take a step back and not have to be as consistent.
It's a hard balance.
It is. And it's hard getting content sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's really easy. Some of the things that go viral, I laugh at because it took me literally 7 seconds to videotape. And, you get lucky, but then, it's just tough. It really is some days having a tripod with you and you have to carry it around.
For sure.
And
100%.
So what are you looking at for this year? How do you want your social media to change, and how do you want it to serve you and your business?
I think for me, it's important for me to try my best to really show my audience a little more about me. There's also that hard balance of like sharing so much or too much of your life. Because like, obviously, as thousands and thousands of people are looking at your life, sometimes it's difficult, like even internally or externally for other reasons. But definitely trying my best to really showcase more of me and to share my experiences and my stories more, I guess, authentically and consistently. Yeah. But also really showcasing my travels this year a bit better. Like, I noticed last year I traveled like crazy, but I would post, okay, let's just say a photo dump of 10 photos of my travel. And that was it. Like, really focus on, if I'm in a new city, in a new place, like, let's get 3 really good reels out of this place. And, instead of just one post, but to really showcase more me and like even my travels, because at the end of the day, it's fun to be able to share that, considering or knowing that maybe not everybody has that opportunity to travel to that place. Yeah. To be able to showcase and like share that story, I feel like.
So I hear that it might not be all golf content and maybe a little bit more lifestyle, perhaps.
Yeah, I would definitely love to include more lifestyle for people to get to know me a little more than just my golf background. And definitely on the side of producing and in front of camera, just really kind of showcasing it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say showing your following what you're doing behind the camera, I think that would be so cool and so interesting. Like you transitioning into doing that. Yeah. And what it's all about. And, the pre-production and the production and going into editing, all that. Yeah. It's very interesting.
So it's something we'll definitely work on this year.
What's your big, scary, uncomfortable goal that you're scared to say out loud, but you might share with us today by chance?
Like in life or this year?
This year. We'll just go with this year.
Scary, uncomfortable goal. Like work related or like in general?
It could be anything.
Honestly, again, I'm doing both sides, right? Producing and talent and a lot of stuff we're doing. I'm working on my own show. So I think having the pilot episode be something that continues it on for 20 plus seasons is a goal that's a little scary. But I would say another really great goal too, that's a little scary and uncomfortable, is season 2 of The Grid, because that's also a possibility for this year.
Mm-hmm. That's also your passion project.
Yeah.
You can tell you're glowing. Like you're excited about what this year has to bring and the things you're creating.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things this year, including traveling the world, the opportunities and the experiences and the impact that I can hopefully make to my audience and my friends and family.
Yeah, that reminds me. Forward Tees Foundation. Where can we find information on it? Anything else you want to share about it? I want to get as much information about your foundation as possible out there.
Forward Tees Golf is Instagram. We actually have Audrey, one of our junior girls from last year, interning to run the social media for this year, which is an awesome opportunity for her because she's just great. So that was really awesome for us to be able to do that. Forwardtees.org. We're still updating the website. Stay tuned. But there's information there. And then either reaching out to Hannah and I.
Fantastic.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to have that information in the show notes too, in case you're listening and are writing that down. Okay. We'll finish with this. Most of my listeners are women.
Yep.
Golfers. They love the sport. They just want to get better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And most of them, I would guess, would love to gain a couple yards off the tee.
Okay.
So what is your biggest tip for gaining some distance? And again, we're not talking long drive distance. Yeah. We're just talking 5-10 yards off the tee. Just get into that wedge section.
I think maybe the biggest / easiest tip, and I would say practice on the range before you take this out on the course, is teeing the ball up, making sure it's more off your front left center of your foot. So front. And when you're setting up to the ball, to really tilt your shoulders back a little bit, because this is going to help you hit up on the ball. Okay. I feel like a big mishit in a lot of, I guess we could say, amateurs?
Yeah, recreational
golfers is they tend to top it and not get it up high enough. And when you hit it higher, you can carry it further. Mm-hmm. So I'd say making sure it's off your front left foot and tilting your shoulders back a little bit. And at first, you might hit it off the toe and be like hitting a little left, but really just to practice that on the range to be able to get the ball up in the air to carry it a little further.
Fantastic. And how important is the gym side of it? Is it just as important?
I think it depends on the person's mobility.
Okay.
Yes.
So work on mobility first and then getting more strength.
Yes, for sure.
Gabi, thank you so much for spontaneously coming into the studio. It is 7:00 at night. Gabi has had a super long day. I just really appreciate you taking the time to talk to my listeners and be on the show.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks,
really
Gabi.
Appreciate it.